So this was a beautiful match. Twin got banned today. Well, the announcement got leaked today, I guess. But okay, yeah, I felt good with it. Early disruption, and Inquisition, Decay. I can take out combo stuff with the surgical if I need to. Spellskite and Bridge should keep me alive for a bit. It is a one-land hand though, so there is that. I take the visions to make it so my opponent doesn't have early plays. I figure I can just land Bridge and I'll be okay. Yeah, it's at this point that I realize, hey, I forgot to play my Opal last turn. So there's a misplay by me. I didn't play Opal last turn. I don't know why I didn't. I just got so excited with the Inquisition. So here comes the, Tarmogoyf. I can't block because I'll lose my Glimmer Void and I'll just die. I probably misplayed this first game. I wanted to see if my opponent had Spell Pierce, so I go to Surgical with Spell Pierce. I want to try to make sure that that bridge lands. And I see, Remand, Pestermite, Cryptic. So I force my opponent to use the Remand now. And here comes a bolt. And I don't know why I didn't redirect a Spellskite there. I made a series of misplays this game. So this time, Thoughtseize. Yep. And here comes some pain. I go ahead and decay the Tarmogoyf, taking yet more damage. Well, Bridge lands. And I'm going to take some damage from Pestermite here. It might have been correct, because I knew my opponent had Pestermite, it might have been correct just to decay Pestermite, but either way I would have lost, because I would have had to take 1 point of damage. No way, I might not have. I would have had to take 1 point of damage for paying for the decay from my pain land, and then opponent Snapcasters the Lightning Bolt, redirect Lightning Bolt to Spellskite. I live at 1 life. But so it was, I probably could have done a lot better in this particular game. So I made a series of misplays this game. Learn from my misplays, please. I try to, but Okay, so this time I know I'm playing against Twin, of course. So early disruption, decay, Spellskite, needle. Things are looking all right. Fortunately, unless my opponent gets an early Tarmogoyf, I take the visions, of course, because I can kill a Pestermite and Needle Deceiver, and Spellskite can block Deceiver all day long. Again, a Spell Pierce on the Opal, but this time it was okay, because I got Spellskite. Just draw out that Spell Pierce for now. Look at that Lantern. So, you gotta worry about bolts, of course. Did I redirect? I can't remember. I hold that needle because I need to see what my opponent's gonna play first. Go ahead and decay the Pestermite now. I definitely redirect the Spellskite this time. Yeah, Ghost Quarter that Desolate Lighthouse to get Snapcaster out of there. I do not want Snapcaster. Yeah. Yeah, I wanted to shuffle away that Ancient Grudge, so I Ghost Quarter a green producing land, hoping he doesn't have a basic one, but he does. So it's unfortunate. I named Scalding Tarn with that Pithing Needle this time to try to keep my opponent off of being able to shuffle into something. Yep, taking some damage here. Bridge is going to save me just in time. So it's pretty close. I don't even have a lock. It's just there's so many dead cards in my opponent's library after bridge hits and Spellskite's out. Yeah, I don't know. My opponent made a misplay here. Tried, I guess, wanted to draw the Splinter Twin for some reason. I don't know. Again, I Ghost Quarter, get rid of that green producing land, so that no flashbacks on Ancient Grudge. And Needle on Tarn is doing great now. So here, kind of a misplay on opponent's behalf. Tries to play Splinter Twin on Exarch, redirect. And it's pretty nice. Now check this out. Pixis of Pandemonium. I play one of now. I won 3 bells, 1 Pixis for my split. Yeah. Of course, I don't want my opponent to have that Ancient Grudge, so I don't have to worry about playing out my Surgical and Thoughtseize quite yet. I don't want to play Thoughtseize quite yet. I do want to empty my hand, so I go to try to Thoughtseize myself. My opponent says, no, you cannot Thoughtseize yourself. So once the Remand comes, I go with the Surgical on Bolt. Dead Tarn on top. That's good stuff. Go ahead and make Misty Rainforest dead now. So even less shuffling going on my opponent's behalf. So again, there's so many dead cards in my opponent's deck now. I mean, even Spell Pierce is pretty dead. I mean, I gotta worry about Cryptic, but... And the Snapcaster really... Like, even Snapcaster doesn't do a whole lot thanks to Pixis exiling stuff. But I still don't want my opponent to have it. Again, just redirect that twin to Spellskite. I mean, it doesn't really matter. I think my opponent might have been trying to get me to play out my time, because you notice I am a little bit lower on time than my opponent is. So whenever my opponent has a dead card, I go ahead and mill myself with Shredder. And gain the 5 life now that I know it's safe to do it. Opponent tries to tap out my Pixis. And now I have a clock. There's Keranos, but Keranos is not going to happen. And opponent concedes. I think Keranos was probably my opponent's only out. So yeah, opponent concedes. I got a pretty good lock now. So game 3. I was down to 1 life. And again, that Pixis probably saved my butt. I mean, either way, my opponent didn't get Snapcaster, but... so yeah. No, in this hand, I want to explain. I have that Inquisition out there, and I drew out a counter using Inquisition so that I can make sure that Grafdigger's Cage and Welding Jar stay, because Grafdigger's Cage shuts off the Snapcasters and Ancient Grudges, which is great, and Welding Jar makes sure that it stays that way. And I got 2 bridges, so that's relatively safe. So I figure I'll go with Inquisition, lead off with that first, draw out the Spell Pierce, and sure enough it works. They're kind of forced to anyways. I noticed my opponent, it didn't look like they were playing Mana Leak. I kind of risked it there. Figured that, okay, I guess either they don't have a Remand or whatever, but our Spell Pierce, but it worked out. So there's a Spell Pierce. This is funny. Opponent makes a misplay here. Snapcaster with the Grafdigger's Cage out. Opponent realizes that, crap. It's not the first time I've seen that happen. Unfortunately, what I did not know, because that Inquisition didn't resolve, is that my opponent does have a Keranos in hand. I wouldn't play the Spell Pierce for that bridge, just in case. I need to make sure that I'm okay. So now I'm on a clock with Keranos. I need to keep my opponent off of too much burn stuff. Now, I don't know if it's a glitch or what, but I did notice that with Karanos, that if there's a land on top, when you reveal a land this way, draw a card. When you reveal a non-land card this way, it deals 3 damage, right? First card you draw on each of your turns. For some reason, I felt like I was able to respond to the draw card trigger when there's a reveal. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but it did feel like I was able to respond to it, so that might be a glitch on MTGO. If so, then hey, it's good for me, I'm good with it. Heck. Keeping my opponent on lands, it's a big risk in case I can't respond to the trigger, but it's working. Good. And I'm going to say, I needled the Desolate Lighthouse to slow down my opponent's ability to set up their draws to trigger Karanos. And I don't want my opponent drawing into stuff anyways. So, Pixis. I have a Grafdigger's Cage out, so it doesn't really matter this time. And I try to mitigate the damage I'm going to take as best I can, but you notice I am able to use Pixis' second ability now, so that's cool. And I'll get more out of it than my opponent will, if it ever happens. I only have one face down card, so does my opponent. I want to say it was a land too. Yeah. Or man. Boo. Play it again. I should have actually, I made a mistake there. Tapped my mana wrong. I should have tapped the Opal instead of the Ghost Quarter for this bridge. That way I still had 2 Ghost Quarters up for shuffle effects. But fortunately it ended up not mattering. And I also have 2 lanterns for shuffle effects. But FYI, that technically is a mistake. And I go ahead and lantern away that Ancient Grudge. I mean, I held Welding Jar and Grafdigger's Cage, so I didn't have to worry about it, honestly. But I'd rather really not have to worry about it until I'm a little bit safer. Yeah. Taking some damage here. Yeah, Snapcaster. He forgot about Grafdigger's Cage again. Alright, get rid of that Remand. The opponent wanted to keep the Electrolyze on top. Yeah, this time I let my opponent draw the Grudge, and I just used the Welding Jar to save the cage. So now I got Ethergrid. My opponent is now on the clock. I'm at 1 life, opponent's at 16. I gotta be able to ping faster than my opponent can, and control draws. Keep my opponent off of stuff. Now, I need to point this out. Okay, so opponent had Misty Rainforest, right? Out. I could have used Pixis to get rid of that top card, or I could have sacked Lantern, which I really don't want to do, of course. Or I could Ghost Quarter one of his lands. But the problem with that is the opponent would still have Misty Rainforest to shuffle another card back on top, and I can't have that. So rather than worry about that, I Ghost Quarter targeting the Misty to begin with, so that I don't have to worry about, you know, a secondary shuffle effect on my opponent's side setting up their draw. So it's much better, much better. And that means I still have Pixis and the second Ghost Quarter open. Yeah, start pinging my opponent, put him or her on the clock. I had to use Pixis to get rid of Cryptic. Can't allow Cryptic to happen. That would have ruined my day. Again, there's so many dead cards in my opponent's library, thanks to the Lock and the Bridge and the Grafdigger's Cage. So now my opponent's on a real no-kidding clock. Still gotta worry about that Ancient Grudge. Now, I do something here, and there's a reason for it. I blur out that remand because the opponent, I don't want the opponent to try to instant speed remand into an answer. So instead what I do is I draw out the remand so that I'm forcing the opponent to do the remand on my terms. Now the opponent could have just not used remand and allowed me to play Ancient Stirrings, but I was trying to allow my opponent to make a misplay, which technically I guess my opponent remanding here is a misplay. I mean it's a try, I guess, but because I have Pixis out, it'll set me up decently. Now, so my opponent gets a Tarmogoyf instead. I almost misplay here. I almost passed turn with Stirrings in hand because I forgot I got remanded back to my hand. But fortunately I have the second main stop here. And I do it again. So I don't know if you saw the choices there. There was Academy Ruins was another possibility. Academy Ruins or Welding Jar. So I could have used Academy Ruins to get back the Welding Jar and Lantern in my graveyard. But I was more concerned about having an artifact right now that would make the clock a little bit faster, really. And a Welding Jar right now to make sure that I don't have to worry about artifact removal. So I grabbed the jar. It might have been correct to grab the Academy Ruins, but Welding Jar was more important to me. Yeah, no point in my opponent trying to cast that Serum Visions, I guess, because I'm going to set myself up anyways. But yeah, now I'm, again, I got my opponent on the clock. It's pretty much done. Here comes the second damage. And then 1, 2 more damage, down to 6. And then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And my opponent would be at 1 life. And would have 1 turn to try to kill me. And yeah. My opponent just went ahead and conceded here anyways, and I'm going to, win before my 2 minutes and 50 seconds is up. I'm not that slow. But yeah, great game. And again, my opponent's last hurrah trying to use Twin before it gets banned on MTGO. So it was a great game. I enjoyed this one. I'm sorry to all y'all who are Twin players. I don't think Twin needed to get banned necessarily, but I guess if it's to shake up the meta for GP series, whatever. Just don't ban this deck.